Well, hello, how is it going? I'm hiding in the greenhouse at the moment because the weather is just terrible. It's really blustery and it's been raining as well the whole morning. Now, fingers crossed it is going to get better for the afternoon, and I do hope it's going to get better because I want to plant out my spring cabbages, the ones that I sowed in early September, and they're really nice size of a plant at the moment. So I want to plant them outside in the kitchen garden into those beds that I made up the last time, and hopefully I'll get garlic planted as well, because that bed is now empty. Actually, I have two of the planters empty, and it's just a matter of really popping them into the pre-made holes, a little bit of fertilizer with them, and that's it. But I'd still prefer to do it in a nice weather rather than in this wind and rain. But while I'm waiting for the weather to improve, I was thinking that as I have these beds empty here, I will plant out some of the seedlings that I sowed in summer. And it's a whole bunch of them. It's a mix of different varieties. There's root crops, there's onions there's kale, I think, something, maybe even broccoli in it. But it's a tray that the seedlings themselves are really pot bound, like terrible. But I haven't had the heart to sort of throw them out either. So it's just a tray that I keep moving from the greenhouse outside onto the gravel, into the kitchen garden, sort of giving myself like a hint all the time that just do it, get it, plant them, just get them growing in the ground, because they are definitely past their best before date. So I thought I'll chance it. I don't really have much to lose now at this point with it, because we're so at the end of the season that not much more is going to be growing in this kind of a colder weather approaching. So I'll just pop them in here, and we'll see how we get on. And maybe if I could save a couple of the spring cabbage plants as well and get them into here as well, into one of the bigger beds, I'm thinking. So the old seedlings I have, you see underneath, so overgrown. There's a couple of trays of them. There's various sort of, some of them are taken out, some of them didn't germinate. So there's various stages of plants in here. But I don't think I'll be using any of the bulbous plants. So like turnips and beetroot or Florence fennel, no, not using that either, because I would assume they'd just go into seed anyway. But I think what's salvageable probably are the likes of the chard, perhaps the salad rocket, spring onions, curly parsley, and I'm thinking of the kale as well, and maybe even chicory. They're here already, they're taking up space, they look horrible every time I pass them in the garden. So yeah, I might as well get them in the ground, and if they grow, they grow. If they don't, look, they'll go into the compost after. But at least I'll get these trays empty, and hopefully I still will get some kind of harvest out of them. Like, these two look fairly pathetic, but look, as I said, just giving them a chance. Rocket, parsley, these were actually then tall ones, purple sprouting broccoli. So we'll see if anything comes of them. And then spring onion and some of the shallots I already had popped in here the day before. So they're all lined all the ways around the back of the greenhouse here. Oh. Sorry, kale. Now, so I shall leave 1, 2, 3, my spring cabbages, and they were sown 3rd of September. So I'm going to have, I'll plant 8 of them out here now, obviously the new, that's after the roots. I had parsnips in there, onions, and then beetroot obviously behind me. So this is the perfect crop rotation. And I've actually tasted them already. They're really delicious. So winter special. I'll actually leave 2 behind. I'll pop them into the greenhouse, and I'll do the same with the kale. So I have 3 plants here. They're all Nero de Discano. Now there's 2 that are September plantings, I think, and 1 is actually from summer. So I leave 2 outside and I'll pop 1 into the greenhouse. Now I'll do them about 1.5 foot apart. And I have some horse manure amendment, organic Irish horse manure. And I've used that before and it's a lovely product. So I'm going to put that into the planting holes. Now I'm reaching the clay soil in here already, so that's not really great, but I'll just put some of this horse manure into the bottom. And like they're quite leggier, they have a long stem and the roots are, they're not pot bound, so that's not bad. Sorry, I'll get the bottom leaves off it. But I'm going to plant them as deep as I can, really. Now, it's not going to be growing roots from its stem, but I'm just hoping for that a bit of support against the wind if I plant it a bit deeper. Because it does have a very long stem of it. I'm going to really firm it in. Yes. They're like stones. There's just stones underneath there. No. So I'm just hammering in short cuts of bamboo, sort of skinny bamboo enough, but at least that way I get them in the ground, and then I get these tubular, because they're hollow inside, of these high tunnel hoops that I just removed from the bed below, and I'll get them over it, and I can put I suppose a butterfly netting or something like that over it to stop the hens from coming and or even pigeons, but even though they haven't been luckily coming into the garden, but mostly the hens, to stop them from coming and nibbling. And I can see that I do need to remove a bit more of this fine compost from the surface because it's very muddy at the moment and the feet are sinking in as I'm walking. Obviously because it wasn't contact at ground and this top level anyway, but once we get a fresh load of wood chip, which we need to get for the kitchen garden here anyway, because the old stuff has been sort of composting away, obviously then I'll get a good layer of that wood chip in the very middle here as well, and it becomes a nice clean area. But so far that's good. The hoops reach over 2 rows, and yeah, get maybe now butterfly netting or something like that over this space to protect it from the hens. So the last job of the day, while the weather still holds, is going to be outside. I'm going to be planting my garlic. And these are all grown last year. I've saved seed. Well, I've saved the best out of the bunch. So I have 2 types of garlic, and then I have the elephant garlic. I have them as well. So they're all home grown. The one thing with them is that always the elephant garlic is elephant garlic, but then with the typical actual garlic, the difference between a soft neck and hard neck. So last year the 2 types I grew were supposed to be Germidor and Topodrome, but they're supposed to be soft neck garlics, and everything I grew last year had escape. So the grew escape, which is the flower stalk in the very center of the bulb, and they have a distinct hard neck then in the middle. So both of those varieties, and they are different. One has sort of a purpley tinge about them, and the other one is pure white. Both of them have a distinctly hard neck in the middle of them. So obviously they can't be then the label what they were sold as. So I think going forward, because they did actually really well out of all the different varieties which I grew the year before. And in a way, it doesn't really matter what exact variety it was, as long as it grows for you. So I think going forward, I'm just going to be referring to them as the homegrown white and the homegrown purple garlic, because yeah, I've no idea what varieties they are, and they have a hard center, so they are a hard neck variety. But I'm just going to split them up before I go outside. I'm going to plant all my garlic into those 2 front planters here, and I'm not going to add any fresh soil to the top of them. I would have had the carrots in here, and I had squash and Lisbon, okay, some onions in there. But I'm going to add all the amendments into sort of the bottom of the actual planting hole itself. I'm not going to add any more fresh compost on top of that. Hi Bubba. Are you tired from playing ball now? Are you tired? Are you ready to settle down for the evening? Huh? And what I'm going to use for the planting holes are the fish, blood and bone, and then seaweed granules like I did last season. I'm just hoping that being stingy with the soil or the fresh compost onto the surface won't pay me back in a negative way after. But I'm just thinking, look, it's the roots that need it, and they are going to be so deep down in the soil anyway, so why waste it on the very top layer when I'm going to add it to the very bottom anyway. So I'll put probably 3 elephant garlics here. I had 7 of them before. I'll put 4 in here. It's a big bulb. Now, so bloodfish and bone. And midnight.